What's up, fam? If we don't know each other yet, that is absolutely tragic and we should change that. My name is Jess. I'm the owner of Dolls in Training and the creator of the BBL Encyclopedia and the Travel Surgery Journal. I've spent the better part of the last 4 years helping educate dolls who are planning on getting a BBL or liposuction on how to come out of the surgery safely, but also how to educate themselves and prepare so that they go in knowing exactly what they need to do to get the most bang for their buck. I am completely committed to demystifying the entire process for you from start to finish, from surgeon to snatched, from consultation to compression, and everything in between. If you're a new follower or if you've known me and haven't reached out, send me a DM. Tell me your name, your surgeon, when your surgery is, what surgery you're getting. If you've looked through all my videos and you're still not sure about how to prepare for your own surgery, let's connect. My main goal is helping to make sure that you're comfortable before you even go in. If you're not familiar with me or my business, the entire reason that Dolls in Training got started is because I do not believe in gatekeeping. I shared everything about my journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, the raw, the drainage, the painful, and the emotional roller coaster that I was riding in my first year of surgery. And I mean, I shared everything. Details are absolutely critical when we're on a journey like this, and I did not have anyone when I was researching and planning for my own procedure who took me through this process step by step and made sure that I felt totally comfortable before going in. So if you find my videos the least bit helpful, if you've sniffed around my Instagram page, looked at my content, even better, head over to my website. I have tons of free resources available there, including a global post-op massage professional locator based on your location. Share it with a surgery sister. Share it with someone you've met in the online community. Share it on forums. Share it in Facebook groups. As many thousands of dolls that I've helped and touched throughout my personal journey, I know there are just that many more that need the information that I'm offering and don't know it's out there. So today's video is first in a series of 5 videos all about fajas. This first one is a really meaty topic. We're gonna get into what a faja can do for us, the different types, stages of recovery in correlation to stages of the garment. How do I know when I need one? What kind of accessories do I use with it? What even is a faja? When you're done with this one, go check out the rest. Let's get into it. So first, before every video, I commit to making something really, really clear. Everything that I speak about in my videos, on my social media pages, definitely on my website, this is fully and thoroughly based on my experience, my direct firsthand experience. You can debate my opinion all you want, but you cannot debate my experience. My experience is valid, it's very real, and it happened to me. After I started sharing my experience, other dolls started taking my guidance, and it's worked for them. So I continue to share my experience in hopes that it might work for you too. But please remember that it is just that, my experience. It might work for you, it might not. Surgeons all practice differently. That is also really, really important to keep in mind. One surgeon is not going to practice or perform surgery, even if it's the same procedure, like any other surgeon. So please, in all cases, no matter what, get advice and take it from your surgeon. Feel free to use my experience and my guidance as a booster and a supplement to your surgeon's advice, but please know that what I'm suggesting is that you listen to your doctor. Also really important to get clear right out of the way is that your surgeon only does a small percentage of the work. When you're going in for a procedure like BBL or liposuction, they're really only doing 10-20% of the work. 80 to 90% of those results are going to be up to you and what you do after that procedure is over, after you've left your doctor's office, and when you're on your own. So I'm totally committed to giving you every single detail on what worked best for me and thousands of other dolls in the community. So, into the good stuff. What is a faja and why do we need one? Very simply put, a faja is a compression garment worn after surgery. In most cases, it's meant for mainly midsection compression, but some fajas also offer compression to the arms and the thighs. Liposuction and or a BBL is a very traumatic procedure, and your body's response to that trauma will mean lots of fluid and lots of swelling wherever liposuction was done. And in my experience and the experience of others that I've seen in the community, that trauma response can go on for well into a year after surgery. It's really, really important to try and mitigate as much of that swelling as possible. You must know this. Stages of garments do not correlate with months or quarters. Stages of garments were created in response to your stage after recovery. So in your first stage after recovery, stage 1, your body is experiencing a trauma response. The surgery, the procedure itself, is extremely traumatic. You're immediately post-op. Your body has just been cut open. If you haven't seen my video on what happens to your body and fat during liposuction, where I used a knife and Jello, it's on my Instagram. It's a really good visual. When your body enters stage 2 of recovery, there's less trauma, the swelling and the healing starts to increase, and this could last for anywhere from 3 weeks post-op to well into 6 months post-op. Depending on how your body recovers and what your body is doing after the surgery that you had, stage 2 could last a very long time. So the stage 1 garment is the garment that you're going to get right after the procedure. I'm going to show you mine. I have another video where I do a demonstration on how to wear and put on and off the garment. But just to give you a quick visual, this is what a stage 1 garment, this is what my stage 1 garment looked like anyway. And you can tell from looking at it that it really doesn't have any cinching in the waist. It doesn't have any really definition in the hips. And it's a very loose, almost like swimsuit material. Now, stage 1 garments might differ from office to office, but they're all going to be pretty similar. The compression is mild. There's no compression in the butt or hips. It might have zippers on the side. Mine also has these little hooks on the inside, like little bra hooks behind the zipper. And it has a flap at the crotch where you can use the bathroom. And of course, I have a video on how to use the bathroom in your faja. Now, for a visual of stage 2, I'm just going to show you the one that I used during my stage 2 of recovery after my BBL. Right off the bat, you can see that it's a little slimmer in the waist. If I was able to hold this up correctly, you would see that the butt and the hips are much wider than the waist, whereas in the stage 1, it kind of looked a little boxy, uniform. Material of the two are very different. This is the stage 1, the black one. It's almost like spandex or bathing suit. And the stage 2, you can see, is a little bit more of a mesh material. Again, same with this one, no compression in the butt and hips, and also a flap at the crotch where you can use the bathroom. My stage 1 didn't have silicone at the thighs, but when I got my stage 2, it has silicone around the inside of the lacing on the thigh, which just helps keep it in place. And something else that I really want to stress is that when you start thinking about getting a BBL, which automatically means that you're making your waist smaller, and you're making your hips and your butt bigger, when you're in stage 2 of recovery after your procedure, it's going to be really important for you to have a garment that compresses your waist appropriately, but that does not compress your butt and hips. We'll get into that a little bit more in the section on that topic I like to call stage 1.5. One last thing before we move on to the next question, please, for the love of everything holy, wash your garment regularly. Wash your faja. Please wash your faja more than once a week. Please wash your faja. Wash your faja. Wash your fucking faja. Wash your garment. It's fucking underwear. It's underwear. It is underwear. It is an intimate garment. I don't care if you wear underwear under it. I don't care if you have a bra under it. It is an intimate item. And the amount of time that we're spending wearing this garment, we're shedding our skin. Oils come out of our skin. We sweat. All of these things without even realizing it. I thought this might go without saying, but I cannot tell you how many dolls have reached out to me panicking because they have a hideous rash on their thighs, on their midsection, on their upper back, underneath their breasts. Please wash your garment. You can hand wash it with antibacterial soap or a little bit of laundry detergent or both. I personally didn't put mine in the dryer. I let them air dry. Correction, I did put my stage 1 in the dryer because I knew I was only going to be in the stage 1 for a few weeks. My stage 2, I personally wanted to have more than one stage 2 so that I could air dry it, wash them, and rotate them regularly. Okay, next question. How long do I need to wear a faja? Jury's still out on this. I think as long as liposuction exists, people will have an opinion about fajas. People will have an opinion about how long to wear them. People will have an opinion about whether or not to wear one at all. In my experience, like I said at the beginning of the video, I wore my faja for 10 to 11 months. I was really consistent with it for 8 to 9 months. I can tell you right now, over 2.5 years post-op, I know that I still accrue fluid and I swell. Beyond a year post-op, certain things might contribute to that, and it doesn't happen as regularly as it used to in the first 2 stages of recovery. But behaviors and lifestyle choices greatly affect how my body continues to swell after surgery, and I know that's the same for every single doll that I've ever encountered or worked with. Sodium, how much water I'm drinking, whether or not I'm getting massages, and no, I don't really get massages regularly this far post-op, but there's lots of things that can contribute to swelling. Flying can make people swell. The area that you've had liposuctioned is now completely changed forever and is more susceptible to these lifestyle changes and choices. I will tell you, the time that I saw the most dramatic decrease in my waist measurement was from weeks 8 post-op to about weeks 14, 17 post-op. I really didn't see a lot of changes in my waist measurement before that time. So here's my opinion. If you want the most bang for your buck, which I personally do, you're gonna need some patience. And my suggestion is to wear the garment for as long as you can possibly tolerate it. In the same vein, if you're wearing it when you think you need it, as opposed to wearing it before you think you need it, you might also struggle a little bit. Just wear it all the time. I'm gonna throw up here a tapering schedule on what I would suggest. 24/7 for 3 months. A month after that, I was wearing it 12 hours a day. And then after that, until month 9, 10, I wore it when I slept. As much as I hated it, it's absolutely miserable, but I knew that the misery was only temporary. I'm not gonna have to wear this garment for the rest of my life, but can I wear it for a year if I really wanna maximize the results of the investment that I just made? Sure, hell yeah. Next question, what's the difference between a stage 1 and a stage 2? So I already touched on that a little bit in the prior question. When you're newly post-op, you need a stage 1, which is a little bit milder compression, no real difference in the hip to waist ratio or measurement of the garment. And just to expand on that a little bit, when you first come out of surgery, again, in my experience and the experience of a lot of other dolls that I've worked with, your waist measurement, the number, if you're using a measuring tape, is going to be very similar to your pre-op measurements. That's how much swelling you can expect to have. So that's why there's not much difference in the measurements of the garment. Again, stage 2 is firmer, higher compression, and when you first start wearing it, you're not used to it. So at first it's really uncomfortable, and it might actually even be painful. But the more consistent that you are, the more gentle you are with yourself in training yourself to wear it, and the more repetition that you go through in wearing the garment, it goes from being painful and uncomfortable to, oh my God, I need this garment. What I experienced and what I've seen a lot of other people say, relief. When they put that stage 2 on, it now feels like relief. Okay, we'll talk about where to get your stage 2, but where should I get my stage 1? I am very adamant about what I'm about to say. And I would really invite anyone to help me understand otherwise. I do not believe that there is any way that anyone can anticipate what your size or measurement is going to be after surgery prior to having it. I do not recommend buying your stage 1 beforehand. I just don't. I know there's lots of vendors in major surgery cities like Miami, the DR, Colombia, that offer you stage 1 garments prior to getting the procedure. And I'm sure that some people have been successful. I haven't seen any, but I strongly, strongly recommend buying your stage 1 at the surgeon's facility or the clinic where you will be having surgery. If I'm understanding correctly, lots of people don't think to do this because lots of surgeons and clinics offer packages of products or accessories or things that you can buy packaged with your surgery. And in a lot of cases, it's more cost effective to buy what you need at a better quality outside of the facility, because usually the things that they're selling in these packages are very, very cheaply made and they're marking them up really high to make money. So you're not really getting good quality items in these packages. However, you can buy just the faja from your surgeon or your clinic. That is what I would strongly, strongly recommend that you do. That is what I did. It just simply offers you the best guarantee that you end up in the right size garment afterward. After you have surgery, your surgeon or your doctor is able to assess your measurements and size you appropriately after the procedure is over. In my experience and lots of what I've seen, people that buy their stage 1 garment prior to surgery end up really unhappy. They have to buy another garment anyway, either because it doesn't fit right in the waist or it doesn't fit right in the button hips and it's compressing far too much in that area, or it doesn't fit right in both areas. So again, I personally like to make the most of my investment. I like to make the most out of what I'm buying. I knew that in order to guarantee the right measurement and to guarantee that I ended up in the right size garment, I wanted to buy it from the doctor who was actually doing the surgery. Simple as that. All right, another really popular question. When do I start wearing foams and boards? So I got clearance to wear my foams and boards at one of my first post-op visits. Please make sure you check with your surgeon on this. If they don't talk about it during the consultation or you don't get information from the clinic on when you should start using them, make sure you ask, especially if you're traveling for surgery. Before you leave that surgery city, make sure it's clear to you when you're supposed to start wearing them if they haven't already told you to start wearing them. Additionally, some surgeons might not even recommend foams and boards. Why? I will never know. But like I said at the beginning of the video, go with your surgeon's recommendations, and then if after you've educated yourself on what your surgeon recommends and all of the other information that you see in the online surgery community, coupled with some information that you might get from me, make your best educated guess and make the decision that's best for you. So what are foams and boards exactly? First things first, foams are going to be really critical to the healing and regeneration of your skin and your nerves. Again, if you haven't seen my Jello video, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a really, really good visual of what happens to our body after lipo. A medical grade foam, not just any foam, a medical grade foam is going to be really, really necessary for that skin and those nerves to start regenerating and healing and like mending back together. You can get a really good 5-pack of foams. I have this on my website, in the link tree in my bio. It's on my Amazon storefront. A really good 5-pack for the same price that, I'm not sure about other cities outside of the US, but I know for certain that lots of Miami cities sell 3-packs for the same cost of the 5-pack on Amazon. And the difference between those, if all I need is 3, why don't I just get the 3? That's not really all you need. I'll tell you why in a second. In addition to that, the foams that surgery cities are selling in packages are usually, for the most part, 90% of the time, probably even more, a really, really hard, inflexible foam, and it's not a medical grade foam that really does what it's supposed to do. This is a medical grade foam. That's the 5-pack that I'm talking about in my Amazon storefront. And it is very soft, very flexible, And if you have ever used those makeup sponge wedges, those like the white ones that you'd get in the pack that you like tear apart from each other, right? They're so soft and so velvety and so flexible. Same material. Feel exactly the same, look, smell exactly the same, respond the same way to touch. And the reason I suggest having more than 3 is because you're leaking, you're draining. As much as you try to protect your accessories, you're going to get bodily fluids on these foams. Now, think about this. When you wash them, what happens to a makeup sponge when you apply water? It expands in size, right? I know from experience, and I've actually demonstrated this on my Instagram, these foams triple in size when they're wet. They hold so much water that they actually become 3 times the size as they are originally and dry. And it takes a good full 48 to 72 hours for them to dry and shrink back. And you don't really want to use them while they're wet or even when they're moist, because first of all, that's unsanitary. Second, it's not going to feel good. And third, it's not going to do what it's meant to do as opposed to wearing it dry. So I recommend getting a 5-pack because the 3 likely will not be enough and it'll take 3 days to dry. You'll want to rotate between having some extras. Now, boards are going to be different from foams in that they are what it sounds like. They're hard. They may actually be made of really, really highly compressed and dense foam because they do have a little bit of flexibility to them. But the point of boards, the purpose is to flatten, add strength, reinforcement, and firmness underneath your faja. So really what you want a board for is to flatten out that little lower belly pooch area that we have. I always just call it the lower belly pooch. It's what it is. That's where I carried the most of my fat. That's where I really needed to compress the most. The more space that you have between that top layer of skin and that muscle, the more fat that was removed, the more risk you have of more swelling. There's several different types of boards that you can get. I also demonstrate these in my how-to faja demonstrations, so you can check these out in more detail there. Lots of different kinds, lots of different shapes, styles, materials based on what you might feel like you need. But for the most part, like I said, they're inflexible and meant for reinforcement and flattening. So in your stage 1 garment, you're going to have, again, this is in my demonstration video on how to put your stage 1 on. You're going to have a foam on each side, the front, and a backboard in the back, and then you put an ab board over the top of it. In your stage 2, again, go check out that video to see a really, really detailed and thorough demonstration. Now in stage 2, if you're wearing a properly fitted custom garment that properly fits your waist and properly fits your butt and hips, you can throw these foams out the window. By stage 2, your skin and your nerves have already done what they need to do. You really don't need the foams anymore. At that point, if you like the way that the foams feel against your skin, if you personally feel like you need them for a little bit longer, you can try to stuff them in your stage 2. It might be slightly impossible when you first get your stage 2. It eases up as you continue to wear it, but you don't really need them. From a medical requirement standpoint, you don't need your foams anymore in your stage 2. Spread the word, shout it from the rooftops, tell a sister you do not have to wear your foams in your stage 2 fucking garment. You just don't. If you have a garment that fits you correctly, it fits you properly, preferably custom made to your measurements, the foams are not necessary anymore. You might as well be walking around with towels stuffed inside that garment. They'll be doing the same things the foams will. In my stage 2 though, I always, no matter what, wore my ab board. The ab board was, now if you think about this, the stage 2, again, go check out my stage 2 video, see a really detailed, thorough, visual explanation in more detail than I can get into here of what the faja looks like on the body and why I'm recommending this. if you think about it, a faja it's material. It's an intimate garment. It's a very delicate garment. Yes, it's meant to provide compression and to be tight and strong, but it is still material. It's not steel, it's not plastic, it's not wood. It's not going to completely keep your stomach flat all the time. It has the ability to crease and move with your body. And so when you sit down, that lower belly pooch area is at more of a risk of popping out. That's why I always wore the ab board with my stage 2 faja. I shared my results when I was about 3.5 months post-op, and people were, I can't tell you how many DMs that I got about this. It was insane. I was like, isn't this just common? Like, wouldn't you just think that you know this? And no, I guess not, because I am still surprised at the amount of people that ask how they can get rid of that lower belly pooch area. Wear your ab board. You have your faja on 24/7 for the first 3+ months. That is what I did, and that is how I got such incredible results in my lower belly. That's what I believe. As far as in the back, you can wear a backboard. Now, out of all of the accessories and all of the things that are called boards, this actually is the most flexible. Of course, it's not as flexible as the foams, but it is made of a less condensed foam than the boards. It's just meant as a little bit thicker. It's something a little bit thicker to put in the back. You can clearly see where you're supposed to put this at the spine. This is cut out to the butt shape. This goes down to the little crack right there. And you simply place it behind. Again, watch my demo video. You place it in your back inside the faja, and it helps reduce the swelling in the back. When I got to my stage 2, this was not comfortable anymore. I didn't like this. It felt too bulky, but I still wanted to wear something that would do the same thing. I wanted to help decrease the swelling in my back. I wanted to help mitigate the creasing that I would get from some of the fajas that I wore. That creasing when it like bends at the waist, like the creasing that is happening in my shirt right here also happens in fajas. And when you're swollen and you're, again, just in stage 1 or stage 2 out of a traumatic surgery, that creasing gets very uncomfortable. And it's not really pretty when you take the garment off either, even though it's not permanent, it doesn't stay that way. I wanted to do everything I could to avoid that in the back area. So what I did was I cut a foam, again, not medically necessary inside a stage 2, but I did want to wear something in the back. So I cut a foam in the shape of the backboard, and I decided to wear the foam instead. For me, that was super helpful. It was so much better than wearing a backboard. And I actually continued to wear this. This is the exact one that I used. I'm surprised it is still standing. Obviously not the best cut job, but like it got it done. It did what it needed to do. I can't tell you how much creasing in these garments that I avoided by using this. And it just added that extra layer of compression. It was, just thinking about it now, it felt so good to have this. I also came up against a major issue in my first couple of stages where I have a short torso, so I couldn't find a board that fit me correctly, or I couldn't find one that was particularly on the invisible side when I would go out in my stage 2 garment. So I had to modify a lot of my accessories. And of course, I have another video on modifications, so go check that out. I show you how I modified my ab boards and my foams. Okay, this next question is going to be really simple. Do I sleep in my faja? Yep, the answer is yes. Yes, sleep in your faja. 24/7, baby. Get ready. If you're watching this before surgery, you might want to think about whether or not you're really ready to do this. Okay, do I wear my foams and boards to sleep? I get that I'm wearing my faja to sleep. Do I have to wear my foams and boards? So the answer to this one might vary from person to person. In the beginning, I listened to my body, and by the beginning, I mean like the first week or two. I'm not talking like the first 3 months or like into stage 2. I'm talking like in the beginning when I was just traveled home, still super painful, trying to get the hang of a massage cadence and like how often I would get those, and trying to get my diet right, and trying to feel comfortable sleeping in a faja. Now I have to put these things in while I'm sleeping too. Sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I would wear just the board. Sometimes I would wear just the foam. Sometimes I would wear both. It took me a few days to get into a rhythm. Massages, the water intake, all of that can and will help increase comfort. And once I really got the hang of it, yes, wear the foams and boards while you sleep. Okay, probably one of the biggest questions when it comes to fajas. Can I wear a corset or a waist trainer in its place? Oh my God, I don't have enough time to talk about this topic. I'm gonna keep it really simple. Depending on where you want your results to go, that's my opinion. I talked a little bit about the difference between opinion and experience at the beginning of this video. Now I'll move over to my experience. I did not have surgery not to have a drastic result. The lipo was really what I got my surgery for. I really wanted to focus on the lipo. It was when I was researching lipo that I actually found out about it. I was actually researching my breast augmentation and liposuction of the middle when I found out about BBL and that they could transfer the fat that they just sucked out. So the booty for me was a little bit of a bonus. It's no secret I don't have the most crazy outrageous results in the ass. I have much more of a natural look. What I really wanted to focus on was the waist and the sculpting of my midsection, and I got whatever booty I got as a bonus. But I did not have surgery to have a natural result in the waist. I wanted a drastic result, and therefore I wanted to maximize the results of that decision to have surgery. So for me, I knew that a waist trainer or a corset just wasn't going to work out because, again, this differs in geographical area that you'll go to have surgery, but for the most part, liposuction of the middle is upper back at the very minimum. Sometimes doctors go all the way up to the neck. I'll say upper middle back at a minimum. Sometimes doctors go all the way up to upper back to the neck, at least to the bra line, and down around the waist to the hips. You could have the best brand of corset or the most popular waist trainer ever. It's still not going to cover the entire area that you got liposuction. I don't care what anyone says. It's going to stop under your breast, and that's where the lipo stops too. But it's also going to stop under your breast all the way around your back, and sometimes even lower than the bra strap. Corsets and waist trainers can tend to hang a little bit lower in the back area, and what happens when you wear that compression, and I wish I had one on right now that I could show you, but I don't. Maybe I'll record after and insert it here. But what happens when you have that strong compression and that very concise and cut off area, but you still have all the swelling and this affected tissue up above it, all of that stuff is going to be compressed right in the middle, and all that swelling is going to be pushed up and out, and the same at the bottom. So a waist trainer stops just under that lower belly pooch area, but quite often you can't really fit a good ab board in there and comfortably wear it all day concealed. It's possible, but not as possible as with a faja. You can get away with looking like you're not wearing an ab board in a faja much better than you can get away with looking like you're not wearing an ab board in a waist trainer. I hope that makes sense. So just like the swelling and all of that like mushy skin and tissue kind of just like folds over the top of the waist trainer, it's going to do the same thing at the bottom. And that swelling, I'm again with the DMs, I've had hundreds, maybe even thousands of people DM me that they have these fat kitties after wearing a waist trainer and they don't know why. It happened to me. I had to learn from experience. I was terrified. I was horrified. It was the most bizarre experience I think I've ever had. But think about this. Wearing a waist trainer or a faja is not going to permanently actually shape your body to that exact mold, size, shape. Like you take the faja off and you gain a few inches. Like all that stuff is being held in. It's not disappearing. It's being held in. But the more consistent you are with wearing it, the greater your results. Now I'm talking about any garment, whether it's a faja, corset, waist trainer, the more consistent you are with wearing it, the greater your chances of permanent results. So do I want to increase my chances of a really puffy over the bra line and a really puffy lower fupa area with a really, really tiny snatched waist? That personally isn't for me. I'm just trying to give you the full picture of the possibilities if you so choose to go the route of waist trainer or corset for several months. Now, wearing a corset or a waist trainer for a few days here and there in rotation with your faja, fine. I did it. I have 2 waist trainers. I still like to throw them on. But as far as consistency and what I would choose as my main garment during the majority of my recovery, faja was the way to go for me. I wanted an even compression all over, covering every area that was touched by lipo on me personally. Okay, great. Jess, you've convinced me. Faja for life. I know about foams and boards. I know how long I'm wearing it. I know what I need to do to move from stage 1 to stage 2. When do I measure for my stage 2? Pretty solid consensus among the surgery community says 7 to 14 days post-op is a great time to measure. Not immediately after surgery in that first week, and you don't want to wait too far after 14 days post-op to measure. That first week is the most traumatic. All of that fluid and all of that swelling is rushing to repair that area. You're going to be the most swollen that you will ever be in that first week. That 7 to 14 days post-op is the sweet spot. You've lost enough of that initial swelling. Hopefully you're starting to get regular massages at this point. Hopefully you're in a habit of drinking a gallon of water per day at this point. You're really flushing out that lymphatic system. You're helping it along. You're encouraging it to do its job. As you get the massages, your swelling starts to subside a little bit, just enough for you to get an idea of what your body measurement might be or your waist measurement might be in order to move into that next stage garment. Beyond 14 days post-op, the reason I suggest not waiting past that is because if you're ordering a custom garment, it takes several weeks for that garment to be manufactured, shipped, and delivered. So you don't want to wait too long, because then you risk going into your second and third month potentially just receiving your stage 2 garment. And you want to really make sure that you move into your stage 2 garment as your body is moving into the second stage of recovery. However, you will wait several weeks for that garment to be delivered, so what do you do in the meantime? If you have spent any amount of time in the surgery community in the past 3 years, you've probably heard the phrase stage 1.5 faja. Now, companies who manufacture these garments do not call a garment a stage 1.5 unless they've started doing it since I coined the phrase. Who knows? But I started calling this particular phase a phase where you would need a stage 1.5, because you're in that weird purgatory where you're beyond a stage 1, you haven't quite received your stage 2 yet. What do? You need to get out of that really mild compression stage 1 garment. You feel it now. You're in a stage where your body literally craves more compression. You can tell. You can physically feel, you can physically tell that you need more compression. But you don't have that new garment yet. You've got that little in-between phase, 1.5. I don't care who tells you that they made up the stage 1.5. That was me. And I use stage 1.5 to refer to anything that is a standard size garment. So if the tag has a size like small, medium, large, XL, 2XL, like this one is, I call that a standard size garment or a stage 1.5. Now you can see, as compared to the stage 1, this has slightly more difference between the waist and the hips. It's a little bit more tapered. That black one that I showed you initially was really boxy and all the way straight down. Same measurements between the hips and the waist. This one is a little bit more tapered, but it's still not as tapered as the custom stage 2 that I have. This material is also very different from the stage 1. You move into that mesh material, and I would call this like a medium compression garment. This is really good for people who have had a tummy tuck or have any type of incision. This is going to be a little bit gentler compression. It's not going to be as harsh as a really official stage 2. It's going to be a lot easier to wear the first time. Still minimal compression in the butt and hips, little to none at all, and still has the material in the butt that's different from the rest of the garment. Now let me back up a little bit, because the minute you start thinking about getting a BBL, decreasing the size of your waist, increasing the size of your hips and your butt, you can pretty much throw standard sizing out the window. Small, medium, large, especially in pants, sometimes in shirts, depending on how long, whatever, bodysuit. Throw it out the window. Standard sizing is just like, you're either going to have to tailor your clothes, or you're going to have a loose fitting something or a tight fitting somewhere else. It's just the way that it is. You're literally going into surgery to have your body shaped differently than what a lot of people, or the majority of people in the world, have naturally. And what the majority of people in the world have naturally is what clothing manufacturers are manufacturing for. And so when you get a standard size garment, you want to make sure, because your butt and your hips is really what you want to conserve and make sure that you protect, you want to make sure that you measure to find your size for this garment by the measurement of your butt and your hips. So you want to order this garment, if you're ordering a stage 1.5, if you're ordering a standard size garment, you want to make sure that you order the size that correlates to your butt and your hips. I cannot say this enough. I cannot stress this any louder. Do not order a standard size garment based on your waist measurement. Your butt and your hips will be too tight. You have to order based on your butt and your hips, okay? The waist is gonna be too big when you get it, probably, maybe, most likely. Most likely the waist is gonna be too big, but the foams and the boards and the accessories inside will make up that difference and will tide you over until you get that stage 2. I found it to be the perfect solution for me, and it just worked out beautifully. I had something that was a little bit tighter than that stage 1 when my body was craving it. I had it just the amount of time I needed it, but I can tell you that if I continued to wear this any longer, it would have continued to get loose, it would have continued to stretch out, and I would strongly advise against trying to use a garment that you get on Amazon or a standard size garment for the entirety of your recovery. Again, the compression is like medium. And I'm not talking, if you have tummy tuck, have at it. You got to do what you got to do. Tummy tuck is, in most cases, you've only gotten a, depending on where your surgery was, 1 liter of liposuction as compared to a BBL or just plain liposuction with no incisions or no other surgeries added on. In most cases, 4 liters. That's a vast amount of different fat. If you're getting a tummy tuck, you're getting much less lipo. This is just fine. This is perfect. You could wear this garment probably for the entirety of your recovery and be great. But for a BBL, you want to continue to sculpt that waist. You want to continue to minimize that swelling. You want to continue to really snatch in those measurements. You're going to want to get tighter and tighter in the waist of the garment. This just continues to get looser and looser, especially if you're washing it as often as you should be. It's going to stretch out. It's going to get old. It's going to get dingy. I mean, look at this thing. It's gross, boo. Again, I wanted to maximize the results of my surgery. I just knew I couldn't find anything on Amazon or like an online store in a standard size that was going to help me maximize on my investment. It's just not the way to do it. Get a custom stage 2. So I've also gotten this question a lot. My backboard keeps slipping. What do I do about it? I talked about this a little bit when I was talking about customizing the foam. There really isn't much more to say. The backboard slips. It was annoying to me too. I have yet to see anyone find a solution to it. My personal solution was cutting the foam and wearing that inside the stage 2. The stage 2 is tight enough to hold that foam in place. In a stage 1, it's not tight enough at all, and it was annoying as all hell. That's all there is to it. It's just one of those things. That's probably the one thing that I don't have a solution for you. Fucking hate that backboard in that stage 1. So with my faja, can I wear a bra with it or under it? Yeah. Even in custom garments though, some faja companies sell fajas with bras built in to the garment. The ones that I've been showing you don't have a bra. It comes right underneath and the straps go over the shoulder like this. But I also didn't have these when I had my BBL, so I noticed that all the bras that came built in were too big for me, and I didn't want all that material. Like, if you got small tatas, the built-in bra is probably not going to work. Would I probably get a built-in bra today? Maybe. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, I don't like the feel of the built-in bra personally. But yes, you can wear a bra with your faja. It's up to you. Just make sure that you pay attention to what the material and the indentations are doing and adjust as needed. It's all going to be a personal preference. Those indentations are not going to be permanent. But like I said, the more consistent that you continue to be with your garment and the longer that you continue to wear it the exact same way, I personally would not wear underwear or a bra under my faja for 9 to 12 months straight. It's a personal preference. Play around with it, see how you feel about it. If you like wearing a bra with your faja, do it up. All right, we're coming up in the last few questions here. Okay, when can I stop wearing my faja? This is one of those questions that I'm just going to be super direct about, and I've said it in previous videos. I say it on my page all the time. I am a super direct person. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Maybe I'll tell you what you want to hear, but I'm not going to say it probably in the way that you want to hear it. I've never seen anything good come from someone who stopped wearing their faja in stage 2 of recovery. Never. Never! And in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that stage 2 of recovery can run from week 3 post-op through 6 months post-op or more, depending on how your body heals from that traumatic procedure. Never, ever, ever saw anything good come from anyone who stopped wearing their compression, regardless of the method, in stage 2. I just haven't. And I have had so many heartbreaking, gut-wrenching DMs from people who regretted, oh God, I can picture them now, the regret and the fact that they have to have another surgery because they feel like they ruined their results not taking care of themselves afterward. Of course, compression only being one aspect of that, but it is an aspect of that. I say wear it. Wear it till the wheels fall off, baby. In the same vein, I do continue to see results, positive results, from dolls who wear their garment for 6 to 12 months. Fajas exist because people realized it was a solution to a problem. And if it solves a problem, why are you gonna quit it? Why are you gonna quit it? You just spent all this money and invested all of this in yourself. You just gonna quit in the middle of that shit? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not judging. Totally not judging. That just doesn't make sense to me, you know? Also, like, is it too much after a year? I mean, again, I'm not judging. I think so. Like, I was good to stop at like 10, 11 months. I would die if I put my faja on today. I would die. Like, I'm gonna do it if I have a second surgery. Like, I'm gonna have to. But wearing compression beyond a year, like, you've moved into stage 3 of recovery at this point. Like, you're probably even beyond stage 3 of recovery at that point. Now you're just doing it to be comfortable, which is fine. I'm not knocking you, but like, I just want to set expectations and make sure that we like re-level here. Do not expect your body, like, you're gonna get to a certain point, and what I want to say is there's basically like no hope for you. And that's what it is. Like, you're gonna get to a certain point and there's like no changing it beyond that unless you have more surgery. It's like, it is what it is. Fact of the matter. Sorry to break it to you. Okay, last 3 questions. Oh my god, that went so slow. Seamstress and tailoring. Okay, here is my opinion on seamstresses and tailoring. I personally think it's a fucking waste. I think it's a fucking waste of time and money. I think it's a fucking waste of time and money. Why the fuck would you put yourself through that? Why? Now, here's my experience with seamstresses and tailoring. Oh my god, I'm gonna get so much heat for this because like half the community opts not to buy a custom garment and decides to just tailor their standard size garments. Ugh. Think about this. It's math. Math is never wrong. You're spending, let's say, $100 because it's a standard size garment and it's not custom, right? So you're spending $100. Oh my god, can you even get a faja for $80 these days? A quality garment? I don't know. We're calling it an even 100. You're spending $100 on the garment. You're getting it tailored at $15, $20 a pop. Let's include tax, labor, everything. $20 a pop. We're just even numbers here. Easy to understand. $20 per tailor session. The amount of times that standard size garment, that level of compression that standard size garment has. The amount of times that you're gonna need to get that thing tailored. I was gonna say 5, but let's say 4, just to be really conservative. $80 on tailoring and seamstressing. You have to go and do it, be without it for however many days. You spend the same amount as you would on a custom. My experience tells me between the two, the custom way is just, I had better results. It was more cost effective. It was less aggravation, time and effort. That alone was worth the money. For me, anything that saves me time, aggravation, effort, it is worth its weight in gold. So for me, it was worth it to get a custom. Do you, boo? This one's a little tricky. What is a stage 3 garment and when am I ready for it? So again, we're talking about stages of recovery and the garments that correlate to them. So stage 3 of recovery could come anywhere between as early as 3 months, and that's a very rare situation where I've seen somebody ready to move into stage 3, or their body is like entering stage 3 by 3 months. It's like a very high overshoot through a year post-op and beyond. So stage 3 of recovery really means that almost all of your swelling is subsided. You have little to no swelling in response to behavior and lifestyle changes like alcohol consumption, sodium consumption, you know, how much or how little water you drink, the massages that you're getting. You cannot guess this on your own. You cannot just look at yourself and go, oh, I'm on the 3rd hook of my garment, I must be ready for a stage 3. That's not how it works. And I'm going to say that again. Just because you're able to hook your garment on the 3rd row does not mean that you are ready for a stage 3 garment. Good Lord, God Almighty in heaven above, that does not mean you are ready for a stage 3 garment. Your body must be in stage 3 of recovery after that traumatic procedure. You cannot guess this on your own. You must have your massage professional tell you that you are in stage 3 of recovery and that you are ready for that stage garment. Stage 3 garments are far beyond what you might expect or be used to or know in a faja. And they are far beyond what you might be ready for if you don't know what state your body is in. So please, all I'm asking you is to get a professional opinion on what state your body is in and whether or not you're in stage 3 of recovery before you buy that garment. Stage 3 garments are usually much more expensive than stage 2. In my experience, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but in my experience, stage 3 garments are usually much more expensive than stage 2 garments. And finally, I think that's the last of our questions, but I just want to end on a note of positivity and say that this is going to be a really, really hard procedure. You're going to have to make sure that you really know what you're getting into. You're sure that you're ready to get into it, but also expect that patience and time are going to be invaluable in your recovery journey. And if it hasn't been clear to you in this past almost probably hour video, that is a better part of a year. And I just really want to stress that nothing can prepare you for what you're about to do, experience, feel. Nothing. You can feel like you are the most prepared on the planet. You can't possibly read another piece of new information. You've seen it all, you've watched it all, you've heard it all, you've talked to all the dolls, you've watched all the lives, you've asked multiple people about their experiences, you've seen experiences from people with multiple different doctors, and you're ready. You know what you're in for. Nothing can prepare you for this journey. Fuck. Just be ready to talk yourself off a ledge. A lot. There have been many nights where I just laugh at myself in the mirror. Either because I feel like I'm going crazy, or because I hate the process, or because I love the process, or because I'm in disbelief of the process, or because I hate my results, or because I love my results, or because I am so confused at my results. My God. Acceptance is going to be key. Time, things I must earn. Oh, it's a terrible, terrible roller coaster of emotion. But if you prepare yourself for that, you change the way you think, and you're prepared to take the advice when you know you don't want to take it, and take the guidance when you know you want to just sock me in the face, and do all the things that you thought you personally weren't going to have to do. Embrace it, and you come out the other side with the most unbelievable sense of it changed my life. It changed my life. It changed my attitude. It changed my outlook, my perspective. I work fully virtually from home. And all people see of me at work is from here up. They don't see my body, they don't see my breasts. And they're like, Jess, what have you been doing? You look great. All they see is my fucking head, because my attitude and my outlook and my confidence has just changed. If you can make it through that, be ready for that really long period. And if you can make it through that long period, I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it is worth every second of it. So last question, is it worth it? Hands down, 1,000 times over, 100% yes. Yes. Thanks for watching, babes. If you are the type of person that knows that you want to have something at your fingertips that you can flip the pages to and find the exact answer you're looking for, and you don't have to look all over the internet for the answer that you need or the guidance that you need or the response that you need, head over to my website, pick up the BBL Encyclopedia today. It is good for BBL, liposuction, whether or not you had a BBL. If you're getting liposuction, the BBL Encyclopedia can help you. It can help prep you from 3 months pre-op and bring you along your journey of recovery all the way to 1 year post-op. And I hold your hand and guide you through the entire process. It's like having me in your purse at your every beck and call, answering every single question that you could possibly have and walking alongside you on your journey from day 1 to day 1000. Shop.dollsandtraining.com to check out the book. If you're traveling for any type of surgery whatsoever, whether it's a BBL, whether it's lipo, whether it's mommy makeover, tummy tuck, rhinoplasty, breast augmentation, I don't care what the surgery is. If you're traveling for any surgery under the sun, the Travel Surgery Journal can help you prepare, get you ready for your procedure, help you plan in the best way possible. Your travel, your lodging, your massages, your aftercare, the team that's going to care for you afterwards, how you're going to eat, help you with diet changes if necessary, track all of that. And my favorite part of the Travel Surgery Journal is the section focused on emotional, mental, physical, financial well-being from 3 months pre-op all the way to 1 year post-op, broken up in sections, month by month, week by week, sometimes day by day, depending on how close you are to that surgery. Checking in on how you're feeling financially. Are you financially well? Are you emotionally and physically well? How is your mental state? And checking in on milestones of recovery after surgery as well. With every purchase of the BBL Encyclopedia, you get a measuring tape, which is obviously going to be critical when you're measuring for your faja. With every purchase of the Travel Surgery Journal, you'll get a free Dolls and Training branded crystal stylus pen that you can use with your mobile device. And every purchase of either book gets a beautiful gold, super chic, classy Dolls and Training peach keychain. If this video helped you, if you learned something new, if you just liked watching, if you hated watching, but you still learned something, if you can't stand me, I'm pretty sure I educated you on something that you didn't know or that I reminded you that you needed to know. Please share my videos, my website, my books in Facebook groups, surgery forums. Share it with a sister who's getting ready to have surgery. There's so many people out there who don't know about the tools that I offer completely and totally free. And again, my mission is only to get the information out there so that people can head into their journey prepared and at peace. Thank you so much for watching, and most of all, thank you so much for your trust in my guidance.